Thank you very much to Alistair Mann and Michael Brown for the wonderful commentary. So it is 1-1 at the end of the first leg. I'm Natalie Pike. I'm still joined by Paul Dickov, Steph, Houghton and by Shaun Goater. We all went a bit mad on our predictions before the game, but honestly, Shaun, if you'd have given me a 1-1 draw, I would have snapped your hand off. Yes,
we'll take that. And Real Madrid, the type of team they are, that, we've dominated possession, but we knew that there'll be a team that will have a period where they'll put us under the caution, and we're able to see that out. So to finish off 1-0, we'll be very pleased with that. We're pleased with that.
A week tomorrow is the home leg, is the second leg, Steph. Going into that at a draw at home, it's setting up nicely for us. I would have taken that at the start of the day.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was an unbelievable game. I think there's two teams of really high quality, and I think a 1-1 result is probably a fair result. To be honest, I think Real Madrid did have patches of good player, and we really rode the storm. But I think to have it 1-1, to take them back to the Etihad, it's going to be an unbelievable game again.
And the Etihad is a fortress now. It's like playing a second leg at the Bernabeu, Paul. We've got a phenomenal record, especially in the Champions League. I forget the amount of games we're unbeaten now over a number of years. Next Wednesday night, the Etihad is going to be absolutely rocking.
It is. The Bayern Munich game was sensational. I think next week is going to be something special. As you said, 1-1 draw, possibly a fair result. But to have Real Madrid coming back, knowing that we just need to win with our record at the Etihad in front of our own fans, you would have taken that beforehand, although all our predictions were slightly out. But you've got to be confident in you.
Oh, always. Let's talk about that goal then for Kevin De Bruyne. It came in the second half in the 66th minute. We'll just call it a wonder strike, shall we, Paul?
It was great. Slightly against their goal that they scored was against the runner play, and it was just in Madrid had just had a bit of sustained pressure on us as well. It was great play by Gundogan. On the edge of the box, he just showed how calm he is as a player. He couldn't get his shot off. A lot of players would have tried to force the shot there, but he just took his time, laid it off to De Bruyne, and as soon as he's hit it, he knows it's going in. Sweet strike.
And Rodri also had a big part to play in it as well, Steph. Just, hustling round the box, winning the ball back. He's just always on it, always involved.
That's the good thing about Rodri, I think, in terms of everybody says obviously what he does with the ball, but I think even just being in them right positions at the right time so that City can sustain the pressure. And like Paul said, we're probably against the run of play, to be honest, but for Gundogan to be able to lay the ball off for De Bruyne, and obviously he's just quality, isn't he? So to see that go in the back of the net, it showed how much it meant to him as well.
Another big game, another big goal from Kevin De Bruyne, Shaun. He steps up on these occasions, time after time.
After time. I mean, it's an absolute beautiful strike, but again, we talked about Rodri in terms of putting out fires. He steps in and stops a bit of a counter attack for them. He steps in, pinches it, and then it eventually ends up with Gundogan. And as Paul says, he sort of does well because he could potentially sort of sneak in a shot or get a bit too excited, but he lays that off, and it's just basically saying it strike me. And Kevin De Bruyne, he runs up to it, and it's just his sweetest strike. It really is. It's absolutely beautiful.
So that's the thoughts of our guests in the studio here. We can go over now to the Bernabeu live for the thoughts of FG and Naden Manua.
Welcome back to pitchside at full time at the Santiago Bernabeu. That was tense, wasn't it, Naden?
Oh, I'm so glad that's over, honestly. So glad that's over.
A good result for us. You can hear the Manchester City fans in the top corner making loads of noise. They're as happy as we are. We'll take a draw here.
I think you will in the end, yeah, because I think in the first half I thought City overall were dominant, and it was a shame that they were 1-0 down. But then in that second half it felt a lot more even. Madrid had a few more sort of efforts. They were in the ascendancy a little bit for a spell in that second half. So to score kind of against the run of play, you'll take that. And ultimately for City now, they're in a position whereby if they win a game at home, they make it to the Champions League final. And that's huge. Let's
talk real quick about that goal from Vinicius. A great finish, wasn't it?
Yeah, it sure was. I think it was just a shame that, at the time, City, the players, they had Madrid in their defensive section, but before you know it, Camavinga's running up the left-hand side, and in fairness to him, I thought he played well today. And then before you know it, goes to Vinicius' feet, and it's a great strike. And he hit it so early, and he hit it first time. It's a fantastic finish, and this place got really, really loud. It was a bit uncomfortable, wasn't it?
It was extremely uncomfortable. We were really uncomfortable. I can't imagine how you guys watching at home or around the world were feeling. But then we got back into the game with a wonder strike from our wonderful midfielder, Kevin De Bruyne. This man, I run out of words for him.
Yeah, he stepped up in a very, very big moment. I think overall today, it's not like it was City's best ever game, but they needed to find something because they will feel they would have deserved something from this game. And for it to come from a 25-yarder as clean as that he strikes it. Whoo! We went wild, did we not?
A couple of saves from Edison as well towards the end of the game. One from a header from Benzema, and then a great save from a long-range effort as well.
Absolutely, and I think that's the way that we sort of look at it. A lot of people had City down as being favourites for this game itself. But the fact is, you're playing away to Real Madrid in the Champions League, so they're going to have a spell, and they certainly did have that. So defensively, you need to step up. And I think overall, people putting their bodies on the line. And Edison, he made the save when he needed to make it. Because if that goes 2-1 as late as it is in the game, heads might go down. But then instead, they're walking away from it, as I say, knowing that if you win next week, doesn't matter, the scoreline itself doesn't matter how many it's by. If you win next week, you get a chance to go and try and win your first Champions League.
And the prospect to go into the Etihad in that game, we've had big games there before, but they don't get much bigger than Real Madrid in the semi-final with a chance to book our place in Istanbul.
Oh, it's an absolute cracker. I'm sure everyone that's got tickets for it is very, very excited for that match. And, I think it's going to be, hopefully, as loud as it was in here. And thankfully, 70,000 of these guys can't travel over to Manchester because they were making it very, very tough for those City players.
We are going to have thousands more of them guys in the top corner who are making absolutely loads of noise. For all the Blues around the world, thank you for watching mine and Nedum's segments in Matchday Live. We've had a good time in Spain.
We've had a great time, yeah.
And we've got a positive result. We'll see you on the other side in the second leg before our league action. Let's go back to the studio.
Thanks, FG, and thanks, Nedum. Wow, you could hear the Blues inside the stadium still. Absolutely ecstatic. I mean, it was a great result, I would say, coming away from the Bernabeu with a draw. We bring them home next Wednesday, as FG says, for a place in the Champions League final. A couple of other bits and bobs to pick up from the game, Paul. The lads mentioned there the saves from Edison. Couple of really big saves at really important moments tonight.
Yeah, and he's done that time and time again, isn't he, in the big games, Look at the Bayern Munich game. He made a great save from Leroy Sané that kept us in it, made a couple over there. And that's why he's a top goalkeeper. And the save from Benzema, I think Benzema was maybe a little bit offside, but from Tchouaméni, what a strike it was as well. And to get his hand there and see it over, but that's why he's one of the best goalkeepers in the world.
Yeah, stepping up when he needs to, Steph, so important. And we often wonder how he stays focused when he doesn't have a lot to do. But just a nice reminder tonight of what a great shot stopper he is.
Yeah, I think obviously the way that we played, Edison's not really involved as much because we have so much of the ball but higher up. But we mentioned it before, didn't we, Shaun? We were like, I think sometimes he really wants to get involved in the action. When the ball does come to his feet, he'll just play one over the top. But I think them saves there that is why he's one of the best keepers in the world. I think everybody talks about what he does with his feet, but in them moments, you need someone to kind of have their biggest moment, and he certainly did that.
Anybody else that stood out for you in the second half there, Shaun?
I think it was a great team effort, and it needed that. You're playing against Real Madrid. If you have one player slightly off the mark, I think they could actually dominate you and create more opportunities. We would have liked for Haaland to have one or two more opportunities, but again, we're away. And so I think it was a really good performance. And we look forward to taking them at the Etihad because I think it's going to be absolutely rocking. It really will. Just going back to the Addison thing, Steph said it, we always talk about, Addison's play with his feet is so exceptional with the ball at his feet, but it's times like that you sort of forget how great a keeper he is, pulling off great saves, so brilliant stuff from him.
So we bring them home next week, Paul. We've got a phenomenal record at home. Erling Haaland has a sensational scoring record at the Etihad. Quiet night for him. Wasn't too involved, obviously, by his very, very high standards. But I'm sure he will be already looking forward to that game next Wednesday at home, where hopefully he'll have his shooting boots on.
No, he will. It was a quiet night for him, but I think he quite enjoyed his battle with Rudiger. I think they both enjoyed it. But yeah, they didn't get many chances. Made the one in the first half that came across him, that he side-footed back across that Courtois saved. But it's all about the team, He worked his socks off up there, and we got the result, so he'll be delighted with that.
From a defensive point of view as well, Steph, I thought they all had a great game. Kyle Walker in particular, heavily involved, 76 touches in the game, 6 tackles won, 6 long balls completed, 5 big clearances and a block. Really good game from him today.
Yeah, I think obviously he was up against one of the best players in the world, and to keep him quiet for the majority of the game, or to be able to force him inside into numbers, was what his job was there to do. And even though he tried a cheeky rainbow flick, you're just thinking, Kyle, just try and get back at the end of the ball, and he managed to do that. But I think John Stones probably did a few really good blocks in crucial moments. But I think in general the team really worked so hard just to try and get behind the ball and just stifle Madrid as much as possible.
Next week, Shaun, are you expecting a game like... Do you remember the first leg last year when we came out like a rocket and there was loads of goals really quickly? And are you expecting that sort of game next week?
Well, no, the fans will be bouncing. I think Pep will be wanting to get at them really early, really sharp, and just put them under pressure. Because I don't think they'll be able to live with our tempo. And that's why I think it's key in terms of us getting at them, putting them under pressure. And again, it's another... When we play at the Etihad and you're talking about Haaland with the form he's in, the belief he has when he's at home with the fans behind him as well, I think he just has a belief when he's at home. The ball's anywhere near him and he gets a sniff of a chance in the back of the net. So I think that's going to be something that will also play to our advantage, his belief when we're at home as well.
So 1-1 on the night, a goal by Kevin De Bruyne. Is he maybe your player of the season? Well, it is now time for you to vote. You can go onto the app, you can go onto mancity.com, and you can choose the player that you think deserves the award. At this point, you can vote for anybody. Everybody is up for a vote. I'm going to come to you all now and push you. Give me, if you've got a clear standout, give me a 3 if you want. Give me a 4 maybe, but Paul, player of the season.
Changes every week.
It does. It really does.
I think, look, the big man's got to be up there, isn't he? Erling. Nathan Ake's got to be a good shout. Rodri.
3 or 4.
Is that your 3? Or are you keeping
going?
Go
7. Actually.
he wants to go 11.
He's used my card trick there, isn't he? Put some extras in.
Yeah, that's and Kevin, that's my 4. We'll go 4.
Okay, Steph.
Haaland. Rodri. I'm trying to think of 2 more.
You can just have 2 if you want.
No, because I think Stones has had a great season. And I would say Grealish. I say Jack.
Okay. Shaun,
is there any players left?
You can't have 11, Shaun.
I can't have 11?
No.
Okay, well, I'll just pick 10.
Who are you leaving out?
I know, who am I leaving out? Listen, Haaland's had an exceptional season. He'll be 1. Kevin De Bruyne just has to be in there. Rodri has to be in there. It has to be in there. Grealish has been phenomenal.
Can't believe I left Jack out, actually.
Yeah.
Grealish has got to be in there.
Nathan Ake has to be in there.
I'm not accepting that I'm just going to have 3. So I'm choosing more. Sorry, folks at home. I said Rodri, didn't I?
Yeah. You just do team of the season.
Yeah. There's so many... The players have been so brilliant this season. It's great that everyone gets to vote because it's such a hard decision to make.
I think last year, if I remember rightly, they went down to a top 3, and I don't even know how you go down to a 3 this year. Like, it's so difficult.
I didn't even say Bernardo Silva. I apologise. The whole 11.
Yeah, because you are up to like 6 or 7 now. John Stones is also fuming at you right now.
Stonesy.
Akanji's going, come on, Shaun, where am I?
No, I didn't say Akanji.
And Ruben Diaz is like, Shaun.
I'm sure I started with Diaz. So I've gone for the team.
Thank you. Well, you can vote now on the app or on mancity.com for your player of the season. Of course, before the second leg of the Champions League semi-final, we have to go back to the Premier League. You know the games come thick and fast at this point in the season. So on Sunday, we continue our hunt for a 3rd Premier League title in a row as we travel to Goodison Park to face Everton in the Premier League. Everton, who all of a sudden look like a different beast. What happened, Steph? How can they have the season they're having and then go out and thump Brighton, who everybody is scared of playing?
I don't think anybody expected that, did there? I think if it was ever going to be an Everton win, it probably maybe like 1-0. But see them score that many goals is ridiculous. They started so great. So I mean, obviously, I believe that we're going to win, but it's going to be even tougher because they're going to be growing in confidence now.
They really are. I mean, they've gone from being down and out to suddenly feeling like they've got a fight in them. A team fighting for survival is always very dangerous at this time of year, Paul.
Yeah, and Goodison's always a tough place to go anyway. But there's a lot of pressure on them as well, because look, that was an amazing result. As Steph said, I don't think anybody's seen that coming. But they're still down there. They're still right in the mix as well. You know, so we go there, no doubt their crowd will be right up for it. But we'll go there and control the game. And I think getting an early goal, especially at the weekend, is going to be imperative for us, because it'll just quieten the crowd down, maybe take a little bit of sting out of their tails as well.
Do you think we'll make many changes from the team that started tonight on Sunday, Shaun?
Yeah, I would expect some fresh faces coming in. I think Mahrez, Foden, I think coming in. Potentially Alvarez as well with Haaland. I think he may do that because Haaland is just always a threat. So yeah, some fresh faces coming in. We're going to need that because, you know, Everton again and Sean Dyche's teams are normally very, you know, compact, difficult to break down. But in saying that, they'll probably have a bit of confidence and probably be a little bit more open than they normally are because of that result against Brighton. So yeah, City will go there and look to do a job, but it'll be a tough one as well.
Obviously, we've done it time and time again, Steph, having important games sandwiched in between two-legged, you know, big ties in the Champions League. How, as a player, are you able to stay focused? How can you switch from one competition to another and also, you know how important Wednesday is, but know how important Sunday is, and just sort of stay focused? How do you do it?
I think it's hard because I think the last game we played against Bayern Munich, we were like, as a player, what would you do? And I'm like, well, you would actually try and enjoy that moment, because them moments don't really come that often. And I think people think, oh, we'll focus on the next game, but we're only human. So it's like, okay, enjoy that moment and then get ready for the next one. And I'm presuming the guys will stay over in Madrid and recover properly. And they've got 4 days before the Everton game. So I think with this group of players as well, they're so used to playing big games every 3 or 4 days that the group won't let anybody kind of take their mind off Everton. It'll always be the next game. And it can be sometimes hard, but I think when you're so successful as this team is, it kind of becomes second nature.
And mathematically, we know we've got breathing space, Paul. We know when we look at the league table that we can afford to drop some points and still go on and win the league. But I'm guessing momentum, winning, continuing that is equally or as more important at this point of the season.
Yeah, it isn't. Look, they're just won 10 games in a row in the Premier League, you know. So it's, and these players, I think they actually like playing Saturday, midweek, Saturday, without having that break in between. You know, I think because Steph says, you do your recovery, before you know it, you've not got time to even think that you're tired, you're straight into the next game again. And when you're winning games and playing as they can, that's what you want. They want the next game as quick as you can. You know, when you're losing games, it's slightly different, but the form they're in at the minute, the way they're playing, the way they're blowing teams away in the Premier League, you know, and they'll wake up tomorrow morning, do the recovery, have a rest, and then come Thursday, Friday, they'll be right, let's get Everton at the weekend.
Expecting a win against Everton, Shaun?
Yes, expecting a win. Good tempo as well, and a few goals. So I would anticipate that we look to get out the blocks, play well, perform well. But again, we won't be disrespecting them in any way. We know it'll be a tough game, but Pep will want to come to the last game of the season, know that whether we win or lose, the league is won. I think he'd want that situation so that it can be enjoyed, the last game.
Shaun, thank you so much for being here, as always. Steph, thank you so much for your company. It's always a pleasure to have you here. As always, Paul, thank you for joining us on Matchday Live. And thank you all for joining us today as City drew with Real Madrid in our first leg of the Champions League semi-final. Now, you know that success runs through this club. Well, tomorrow, our under-18s are in the Premier League national final against West Ham United. You'll be able to watch that full game on City Plus and Recast. So if you haven't subscribed to City Plus yet, get doing that now. There's so many incredible documentaries and other things available on there to watch. It's very, very worthwhile. And of course, then you can watch tomorrow night, the Under-18s Premier League National Final. Have a look for some of the stars of the future. Our coverage begins at 6:25 tomorrow. So best of luck there to Ben Wilkinson's side as they look to reach, or as they've reached a third successive final. Oh, Shaun, are you working tomorrow again?
I'm doing a little bit of work, yes.
We like to keep you busy. You're on the co-commentary tomorrow.
Co-commentary, be there, don't miss it.
co-commentary with Alistair Mann. What an absolute duo. Enjoy it. So that is tomorrow night, our under-18s. Let's give them all the support that we can. Thank you again so much for joining us tonight. Matchday Live will, of course, be back again on Sunday ahead of the Everton game back in the Premier League. So we are halfway through the semi-final, and Blues, it's looking good. We'll bring them home next week, and hopefully we'll finish the job off. We'll see you then.
Before the semi-final, I looked across and Luis Figo was in the white Real Madrid kit, looked like absolute god.
Yes.
He had the hair gel back, and he literally, and I remember looking at him thinking, God, he looks like he's glowing or something.
Foden on the edge of the area, onto Haaland! 4-1!
City away again here. Kelly again! Kelly makes it 2.
Alvarez still on the ball, near the edge of the D, hits a shot into the net! Julian Alvarez!
Manchester United's game is over. So is Dalton's game at Stoke. QPR are safe, they don't know it yet. Balotelli. Aguero! Staggering! Just staggering! He's won the league with 90 seconds of stoppage time to play!